How's everything?
How you feeling? I'm good. I'm good. I can't complain.
Feeling good, man. No complaints. Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, first I just want to ask you, first to start off because, we're in such a time right now that
Yeah.
it's unsure of, but how are you just doing like as a person today and this week? Like, how are you doing?
I'm taking it day by day, man. You know, checking in on people, friends, and family, and just making sure that I'm a lot more sensitive. You know what I mean? Getting my
Yeah.
emotional sensibility up, and so I've been good, man. How are you? You know what I'm saying? Since we all checking in on one another.
um, I'm not gonna lie. I've been better. I mean, I'm not bad,
Yeah,
but I feel, I guess because it's like we were good for a second, and
yeah,
now it's like, dang, like when are we gonna catch a break? I just want to see,
yeah, man.
like I want to see live shows again. I want to, go to the normal things. I mean, I used to go to at least, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, at least 35 to 40 to 50 concerts a year. So
Damn. That's a
yeah,
lot,
like
bro.
yeah, for not going to hardly less than 10 shows a year, it's kind of like, damn,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
would have ever thought? Like I'm literally watching my videos on my phone that I took from, over the past 10 years. And I'm like,
Yeah.
never thought I'd be watching these thinking like,
Yeah.
I want
I
to see
mean,
this again.
eventually we'll get back. We'll get back, you know what I mean, into the swing of things. I just think right now, we're learning a lot about society. We're learning a lot about ourselves, about the world. You know, accountability is something that
Right.
I didn't realize that we were short on, in the sense of
Yeah.
like as a whole. But those are the lessons that we got to learn, and you know, God reveals things as needed. 2020, 2020 vision. We needed the clarity. So
Yeah.
at the same time, this is not necessarily like the the greatest like emotionally for just like as the world at whole or at large. But we
Yeah.
need the clarity, and we needed to see where we were as a
Yeah.
people and humanity. So what I mean. Hopefully, we can learn from this and come back stronger and understand that we need each other and that we have to hold each other accountable for the things that we do or that we don't do.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Well, I know today's a big day, Looking for Love, the music video dropped. I
Yeah.
love, like, we're going to talk all about it, but I want to bring it back a little and then I want to talk about the video because it's super dope. I love, like, the cinematography you did with the cover and
Thank you.
just,
Thank you.
yeah, we're going to talk all about it. But
Yeah.
first thing, I'm so happy for you and jealous at the same time. Your beginning was on 106 in Park,
Yeah. Wow.
Wild
Wow.
Out Wednesday. Like,
Wow.
it's such an iconic thing. And you're an 87 baby like me.
Yeah.
So, that, like, I feel like we seen the good shows like 106 in Park and TRL, and we've seen now this new, way of music and life. So,
Yeah.
we've seen the gap, I guess. But just
Yeah.
tell me about that experience and yeah,
Yeah. I mean, as far as like you talking about like Wild Out Wednesday, right? Like the
yeah,
whole thing. Man, so when I got on Wild Out Wednesday, I was about 18 years old. So like by the time I got on there, I was like literally like the bare minimum age of being on Wild Out Wednesday, and I caught literally maybe like the last year that Terrence and Roxy was on. So that like go figure. Um,
dang, yeah, I didn't think
but
of that.
but all that to be said, um, shout out to my guy Bobby, man. Bobby Daniels, who actually talked me into doing the audition. Um, and he was like, man, you should just go down to New York because I was up in Boston. And I was like, I was in college during that time.
Yeah,
I was like, yo, all right, cool. I don't think they're gonna like a artist or anybody like me or whatever. And I made it through the audition, and then I went on set. And I remember coming through the door, and like all of the contestants like laughed, like they laughed at me, like when I walked
what?
in. Yeah, like no lie. And because I didn't have an entourage, I didn't have dancers. Like I just wasn't the. I was, I've never fit in. Let's be very clear.
Yeah,
I've never fit in.
which is
But
a
at
good
that
thing.
time,
Hey,
I
which
was
is a good thing.
yes, I was young, I was impressionable, so that kind of disturbed me a little bit too. So I kind of already felt like I was gonna lose.
Yeah,
I was like, you know, the only thing that I could do is just give it what I got. You know, I'm a show up for my city, and you know, I'm a sing, and whatever happens, it happens. And it just so happened that I won. And you know, that was real interesting, man. Like during that time, because like I guess real music or singing and musicianship, that wasn't the main focus.
Hmm.
Like that was during the time where like star power and you being able to sing and dance and be an entertainer was like really,
Yeah,
really full
heavy.
effect. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So you know, it was a great experience. It showed me one that there was value within musicianship, and it also paved the way for me to meet Troy Taylor. You know what I mean? So you know,
Yeah.
he was watching somewhere out in Texas, I guess during that time, and you know, we actually linked up years later, once I graduated from college and moved down to Atlanta. And so he really became my musical mentor. So if it wasn't for 106 and Park, if it wasn't for Bobby Daniels calling me and encouraging me and pushing me to do the audition, I wouldn't have met Troy Taylor. I wouldn't have met Pat Charles, who was a part of BET. I wouldn't have been able to meet Kelly G or Omar Grant. Um, so you know, a lot of people who still play an important part to this day. So I'm truly grateful for how that happened. I'd say divine alignment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sum it all up.
That's just like iconic because it's
Yeah.
something like, let alone, Wild Out Wednesday, we all knew, but just the show itself as well. It's just
Yeah.
something that kids, it's funny. I don't know if you've seen, like, they have, I don't know where, I think it maybe in Atlanta, like somewhere where they have the set of the show to go see it.
Oh snap! For real?
Yeah, they have it somewhere, but I'm like, it's funny because kids, I feel like in their 20s and under, really don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember running home and watching
Yeah.
TRL, and then right after TRL was 106 in Park.
Yeah.
Like, it was, clockwork right after school. Like,
Sure. I
yeah,
mean,
it's just iconic.
but think about it. Like you know, that generation, because I mean, yeah, like that generation, they had so many options. You know what I mean? In the sense of
Yeah.
like once YouTube kicked off, and we didn't need countdown shows because all of the videos were on there, so they could be the judge. They could watch a video 100 times and not have to wait for anything. So it was a gift and a curse for how we experience things. I like to say we were the best, one of the most best and favored generations because we were able to experience everything literally in a matter of like 10 to 15 years. All right.
Yeah.
We were the last generation to go outside. Like, you know, whoever raised us, like our ass was outside. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like we had video games, we had Sega, we had PlayStation, we had
Yep.
all that. But a requirement of growing up was your ass need to go outside.
Yeah. Always. Always. It never, and you always knew when the lights went on,
Yeah.
get home.
So
Like,
that, you know, that we were the last of that because literally
yeah.
like when my younger brother, we're 5 years apart, when he was coming up, that's when you had those like multi.
Yeah, it was definitely like you said. It's a moment. It was dope that we got to experience it all. I wish everyone could kind of experience it because I feel like it was just a dope time for everyone in their 80s. I feel like the 80s, anyone born in the 80s got to see the good and the bad
The
and
good,
everything
yeah,
in between.
definitely the good and the bad for sure, man. And then we experienced the technological boom. Like we watched from
Yeah.
Black Planet to MySpace to Twitter to, you know what I'm saying, and then to,
Yep.
you know, Instagram and then TikTok. So we seen the whole thing. We seen when we had the block Nokia phones and the Nextels and the, you know what I'm
The
saying,
T-Mobile
like
sidekicks. I remember.
yeah, bro. Like you had to physically press. You remember when you had a phone where you had to text and you had to be like
Text
two two two
222 to
three
do.
three to like
Yep.
actually,
To get to the letter C, you got to do it 3 times. Like to get to letter
bro.
B 2 times. Like
Hey, man, so many car crashes I could have been in just messing around trying to text. I'll be
right.
there in 10 or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So we seen it all, man. So I
Yeah.
think that we've been blessed to experience, like you said, you know what I mean, for better or for worse, the big technological boom. Um, and for us to still be in our prime, you know what I mean, to
Yeah.
be able to take advantage of it too. So And shout out to everybody that's talking about the brick phones and all that stuff. Y'all, man, y'all know the
Yep.
vibes. Come on, let's
They-
reminisce. I love
yep.
it.
But also a thing that you've accomplished, I feel like you don't get this as much anymore either with today. Like your first two tours,
Yeah,
Maxwell and Neo.
yeah,
Like I remember at that time, Neo was still, he was just exploding onto the world, and now he's a legend. But
yeah.
Maxwell was already a staff. Like
Uh-huh.
what was going through your mind? Because that was just off the EP you were promoting. I remember. Like,
Man,
how was that whole process?
man, you did your research for sure.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. When I opened up for Maxwell, I didn't have anything out. I didn't have an EP out. I didn't have a song.
really?
I didn't have nothing, zero, nada. We were gearing up for an EP, but I didn't have
Okay.
nothing out. Like literally divine alignment. You know what I mean? And the people like the management at the time, had the right connects, and I ended up on tour with Maxwell, and I was just like, yo, what the hell am I doing here? But his crowd showed so much love, man. I gained so many like supporters and people who still like are down with me and
Yeah.
follow me to this day. You know what I mean? From that Maxwell tour, he has a different level of like
Yep.
audience and fans. Like if they rock with you, they're gonna stick with you, and that was rare. And literally, the EP came out, and then right after that, like I went on tour with Neo. Like maybe I want to say like maybe like a month after I got off tour with Max, I got on tour with Neo, and we did like I don't know how many cities we did. Probably like 10,
Yeah.
like 10 or something like that. And yeah, man, great experience. Neo is a very very cool guy, down to earth, hella talented, and like you said, legendary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At this point in the game. Um, so yeah, like all that stuff kind of happened in like succession, which was awesome, and it was really kind of I wouldn't even say a start, but it was like a a, a point where I knew that all of the hard work that I did to that point, it was actually coming into fruition. What I didn't realize was that this is a game, right? And so like
Yeah.
you're gonna have ebbs and flows, like you're gonna have your peaks and you're gonna have your valleys. So I'm thinking, oh man, we gonna ride this rocket to the moon, baby. No, 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 no. It wasn't a rocket that I was on. It was more of a roller coaster. But what it did teach me was endurance.
Yeah.
It taught me how to be able to, kind of like withstand all of the inconsistencies, the broken promises, and all that stuff. Like things that could easily defeat other creatives. It built the tough skin and exterior for me in order to, see it through. Because what people don't know is that all of that had happened, and I had a Glade commercial and all this stuff, like all within a
Yep.
matter of like 3 to 4 months, and then there was like it went arid and dry for like a year and a half after, right? So that was a tough blow for me. But at the end of the day, then Long Song Away came. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So here we go back on to
Right.
this, right? So I think that through it all, that experience of what you were talking about with me opening up for Max and Neo around the same time, those experiences back in 2014 taught me that this is a marathon. It is a journey, and you must endure and you must enjoy, uh, you know, every part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The world, and even when you look at yourself to say, yo, I ain't got all of that stuff going on right now. People probably looking at me crazy, X, Y, and Z. What happens is God is working on the next thing, right? I always
Yeah.
say this in interviews and stuff like that, but I just want to put this into, perspective. Divine alignment takes a lot more than just you, right? So if
Hmm.
God is working on something on your behalf, that means that he needs to work on probably 5 to 6 other people. So while you may be ready and he's groomed you to be ready, he has to work on the other 5 people in order for this to align properly. So you can keep praying and say, God, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. I want it now, I want it now. But he's like, yo, I got to make sure that these other people are in the right frame of mind and spirit in order
Yep.
for this rocket that you're talking about to actually, you know what I mean, take
Yeah.
off
Take off.
in the proper way. And I've asked for things too early when I felt like I was ready, and I may have been. But the people that I was around weren't. So I learned to value the time that I have while God is working on my behalf. The rooms that I can't stand up in or that I can't speak for myself in, He's already working on that. He's already speaking for
Mm-hmm.
me. He's already bringing my material or music into other people's minds and hearts and thoughts. So I'm a strong believer in that. So within the time that we feel like there's nothing going on or stuff is moving or stuff is not moving, we have to understand that it's like, yo, there's a bigger picture at hand. So it's bigger
Yep.
than me. So for all of those who are out there that are listening that may feel like things are not happening fast enough, or you feel like God has forgotten about you, just understand that it's bigger than us, and that you may be ready, but He's working on the other people that need to be a part of your grand plan.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, you can't be more accurate on all what you just said because it's so true on I feel like anything you want to do in life, like any
Yeah,
plan you have. And that was my next question I want to ask you. Like getting, I feel like, 2014, 2015, that's still at a time where you wanted to get signed. You
yeah,
wanted the major label. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I mean, I'm not even an artist like that, but I
yeah,
know, like, if I was an artist, oh, I want to be signed to Motown or Jive Records
sure,
or Def Jam. Like, it's just something us growing up, that's how an artist made it in,
yeah,
with, getting played on the radio. And, how was that for you? Because I know labels run you dry. Like you're
yeah,
literally, what was that like? Like, yeah, I know you're excited
yeah.
for, your first full body of work, The Awakening, and, meeting fans and getting your name out there. But how were you just doing personally? Because I know it's a lot to take in that the
Yeah.
public doesn't understand.
Yeah, I think it is overwhelming when all of that stuff is happening. I think even more overwhelming when um I must admit I in the time that I was on a major, I didn't have really like grand plans. I wanted very like surface things. Like I wanted for my music to be heard by the masses. I wasn't specific. I didn't have
Hmm.
any details. So while things were happening, it was easy for me to be overwhelmed. Not
Yeah.
stifled to the point where I couldn't execute, but overwhelmed to the point where I couldn't think about what was next. I was so overwhelmed with the current moment. There's beauty in that, but then
Hmm.
there's the other side of the coin where you have to be able to think ahead, to plan ahead, to say this moment is beautiful and I want to stay in here, but now I need to prepare for the next, and I need to prepare in a way where this momentum continues to move the train forward. And I think that was one of the valuable lessons that I learned during the awakening time was I was allowing for it to happen to me, you know
Yeah.
what I mean, which is great. But at the same time, eventually you have to grab the reins of the moment, take the moment, and really make it yours to say, okay, how can I now maximize this moment to work to my benefit, and so
Hmm.
during the time of the awakening, as beautiful as it was, that was one of the lessons as well that I learned, is to say, with good success comes, great responsibility and maintenance too.
Yep.
And during that time, I learned my value, and I found out that I was being undervalued, or unappreciated, and so I had to take my talents elsewhere, and I had to bet on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so the awakening was legit an awakening. I thought it was really like, I was like, okay, this is a cool title, and I had a meaning for it, and the guy was like, you better be careful of these words that you talk about right now, because I will put you in situations for you to really live that. And I and
Yep.
I did wake up. I did wake up, and I was like, yo, like I don't know my worth. Like, legit. Like, I didn't know how much I was making to the penny in the sense of like music wise, but I didn't know my worth in the sense of my value to the genre or to music in
Yep.
general. So the awakening was a great time. Shout out to Long Song Away going #1 and all that stuff. And it took a while though, but
Yeah.
I will say that was a lesson that I learned from
Yeah.
that.
And I love that you said that too, because I remember at that time, like you said, you weren't reaching your full potential on a label. Because I remember
Yeah,
it was like you, BJ, the Chicago Kid, James Davis,
yeah.
um, all three of you. I remember like all different
Mila J.
types. Mila
Yep.
J, yes, Mila
Yep.
J, like all of y'all. And I was like, yo, why aren't more? I want more, like, because y'all were so dope. Like, I seen so much in all of you,
Yeah.
like, for different reasons. And I was like, when you made the decision, to go to leave the label, like, how exhilarating was that for you just to be like free and to do my own, like, what did that feel like?
Oh, it was frightening. I'm gonna be honest
Was
with you. It's like, I mean, exhilarating, like jumping out of a plane,
it?
exhilarating for sure, right? But not the exhilarating that you think, where it's like, oh yes, I'm free, body, like, right? I'm like, listen. I had a plan. I had the game plan. I was like, listen, I got my first album done. Audacity was halfway done, right? So I
Yeah.
had Thing Called Love. I had Let It Out. I had a lot of records, like while I was making this EP called Drive,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
I had felt very confident in my abilities and what I could do and how I could execute and how I could deliver. So I said, okay, by, what it was, 2017. So I was like, by 2019, 2020, I'll be done with Motown, and I would have learned everything that I needed to learn. And literally, as I'm speaking so confidently about that, my champion leaves the label, and
Oh.
God, nudged something in my spirit to say, it's time. And I was like, what? It's time to what? Re-up? It's time to re-up? He's like, nah, it's time for you to leave. It's time for you to go. The writing's on the wall. Like, you're a student of this. You've read the history. If you stay, then you'll be a casualty within uh, the new regime, right? So I was
Yeah.
like, oh God. So when I was like, I request that I leave. So it was a shock for everybody because we're coming off of an iHeart nomination for best R&B artist,
Hmm.
best artist as far as with Soul Train and NAACPs and all kind of stuff. So they like, you want to leave? Like this is the
This.
time where you need to stay. And I was like, nah, like I gotta go, right? So now, granted, with any kind of business, they were gracious enough to let me go, but they needed to take some steam off of me, so they kept me in limbo for about a year. So
Hmm.
that was enough time for me to structure Art Society Music Group and to make that a legitimate company, and for me to finish up Audacity. So by the time that I was freed up, it was time for me to look at distribution companies. And so I went to a lot of distribution companies, and a lot of them just didn't understand. They just wasn't with it. They weren't with
Yeah.
whatever that I was doing. So they're like, nah, or what you're asking for, we don't think you're worth that. And I was like, I can't agree.
Yeah.
And so, Empire, shout out to Gazi, man. He understood. He understood, and he was willing to give me a shot as far as of being an entrepreneur, and really trying my hands at it. And that is nerve wracking because you don't know how it's gonna go. By that time, I hadn't released anything for 2 years, 2.5
Yeah.
years. So I was scared. I was like, yo, I don't know how people are gonna respond to this. I don't know what's gonna happen. You know, but God reminded me that this was something that He spoke into my life, and so I had to understand that, yo, like I gotta walk by faith. I can't walk by just like what I think it is, what I feel like it is, more
Hmm.
so than what was already promised, right? So
Yeah.
that's a big thing for me. So to that's the roundabout answer.
Yeah.
but all that to say, yeah, it was frightening, man. But I've been learning a lot, and I wouldn't trade it for nothing, man. It's one of the best decisions that I made was becoming an independent artist. And shout out to BJ too. He's now independent. Congratulations, my brother. Mila has become independent. I
Yeah.
think James Davis is still on the label, I believe.
Yeah. I think
But
they are. Yeah.
yeah, but all that to say is, I saw it a little earlier, and I'm just glad that I made the move when I did, and grateful, man. It took Audacity was a big experiment for me, and the only thing that I said to my team was the goal is to become profitable. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I'm not trying to make money hand over fist because I understand that, we're trying our hand and we spent a lot more money than probably what we should have. But that's what's needed in order to see what works and what doesn't, right?
Yeah.
Um, but God made it so that we were profitable. Like, I mean, for real, off my first indie release, I never thought that would happen. I would read so much about startup businesses and how it takes 2 to 3 years to even seed some kind of
Mm-hmm.
profit or ROI, and I didn't know, but look at God, you know what I'm
You're
saying?
right.
Like, and now we get ready for album 2 and Looking for Love. God damn it, right now, what is it? It's 22 on Billboard as far as adult R&B, but currently right now it's moving at number 19. So we finally cracked top 20, and this is
Nice.
all in a matter of 3 weeks. And
Yeah. What was it?
the
The
show it
23rd,
took, huh?
July 23rd, July 23rd. The
Yeah,
song dropped. Yeah.
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 So
Less than a month.
you
Yeah.
know, I though it may have taken or taken a while,
Yeah.
I needed to learn the lessons, you know what I mean, in order for me to have gotten to this point. So I'm so grateful, man. I'm so grateful for every single step, even if it hurt, even if it felt crazy, even if I was scared out of my mind. It led me to this point, and that is not to say that I will not hit more valleys, because I'm very very sure very sure those will come. But right now, I'm enjoying this incline that God has me on, and making sure that the lessons that I've learned from the past, that I can now implement them, in a way to make sure that sorry about that,
Yeah. You're good.
to
You're
make
good.
sure that this journey is healthy, for me mentally and spiritually, and for me to endure in a successful way. Because now I know how to diversify, so I just won't be stuck to say, "Oh, my artistry isn't working." It's like, I can then move to writing or producing, or or even
Yeah.
signing acts for that matter, because I have a variety of skill sets. So I'm enjoying it, man. I'm enjoying this process.
Yeah, and that's what I want to answer you. Like, you have so many amazing songs. Like, some of my favorite songs, I love Be Great. I love Forsaken. I
Yeah,
love Remind You. Overrated are some of my favorite tracks. And
yeah.
one track that you co-wrote, I love
Uh oh.
Sex and Cigarettes, you did for Tony Braxton. Like, those are
Yeah.
some of my favorite tracks by you and someone you wrote for. Like, what has been, would you say, currently right now, is a song that you just loved creating that always sticks in your mind?
It's not fair, man,
Not.
because I'm gonna say, you know what? Okay, that's okay.
Uh-huh.
There's 3 songs
Okay.
that come to mind. 3 songs, and that is for sure. God is a Genius. God
Okay.
is a Genius was one of the most organic songs that I created, in a sense of like I literally have everything time marked to the T
Mhm.
of where it came from. Like, I do these voice notes like most creatives in the car, and I was like, I was like, yeah, when I get
Yeah.
home, yeah, we finna do that, right? So luckily, literally that same day, my guy Sherrod Virtuoso, who's an artist himself but an amazing guitar player, he comes through. So I'm like, yo, I got this idea. I'm gonna play these chords on the keys, but I want it in the rhythm of this, right?
Okay.
So he plays it, we layer it, then I start to do the beat. So doing the beat, and I'm like, oh, this shit is actually going really well. Now, one thing you must know, in the process of production, sometimes when you have something going on, it may not work. It may not work live in the moment, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
was like, wow, this track is really coming together. Like, I'm really producing my ass off today with this God is a Genius record, right? And so, like, in the next few hours, we had the track. Then I literally go upstairs, because I'm at Troy Taylor's spot. We go upstairs, and I run into my guy E Miles. Shout out to E Miles, an amazing writer, producer, and concept king. He's a concept genius. And so he's like, yo, let's work on something. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I said, I did this track downstairs. I want you to listen to it. Not even really thinking that like he's gonna like write something. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
listen to it. And the first thing he says, in his Miles fashion, he says, you know what, Kev? Uh, I feel like it needed to say something like, God is a genius. And I was like, what? And was so bold, and I was like, yo, that's kind of dope. And literally right there on the spot, I'm like, I just start singing, God must be a genius, right? And so,
Uh-huh.
that. So we rocking and rolling. We finished the song in like an hour. I leave, I go to the hotel. Now I'm working on the track, and I'm just like, maybe it's just the feeling of how I felt that night.
Hmm.
But it stuck, man. And what has occurred with God as a Genius, like, even though like it wasn't like, oh, this massive thing, it was massive for my business.
Yeah.
Number one, how about that? And for those who are in stocks and would understand what I'm about to say, then God as a Genius during the pandemic for me was like catching Ethereum at like $20 and then it going to $4,000. So if you could imagine what that is, then that was that. So God is Genius was amazing for my business, and one of the very reasons why I'm profitable.
Yeah.
Right? It's one of the very reasons why I'm profitable. So shout out to God is a Genius. All right, next song. What we say? Looking for Love. The current single.
Uh-huh.
I take pride when I'm producing. When I was producing Looking for Love that day with Chase Farley, production was not going well. I was really, really sucking at it that day, and I was like, wow. But the keys were good.
Okay.
So I was like, we're gonna keep that, and I just kept working on it week by week, and like, if you guys heard the demo to that song, no one would ever believe that it would have came out like that. It took a lot of love and care to get Looking for Love to the place that it is, in a sense of like really carving out
Hmm.
a song where it feels classic but not dated, that feels youthful, and you know what I mean, like,
Yeah.
and that felt like me, you know what I mean, because I am this artist that it's like a bridge. I'm a bridge in a sense where I have part of my base is older, like, what we call aunties and uncles,
Yeah.
and then I have a base that's like my age and a little younger, right? So
Isn't
and
that weird though, how that is now? Like,
yeah, so
yeah.
it's a weird world for me, but now I understand that. I'm like, okay, Kev, you don't try to separate them, you bring them together. And you bring them together through song. How can you make songs that are relatable for this wide group of people? And
Yeah.
so Looking for Love was one of those records that, one of the offerings, in a sense, to gauge whether or not I'm bridging correctly. So, that's fun. And then what's the last song? Thing Called Love. Thing Called Love was like,
Okay.
oh my gosh, it was like a, geez Louise. Me and Jay Kitts, shout out to Jay Kitts. It took us months to produce that record. We had a live drummer come in, we had bass players, guitar players. I mean, it was really like, it was like some like old school. It's like some old school shit, like
Yeah.
producing that record. And at a certain point, I was just like, maybe it's just not time. It's not time for this record, obviously, because we just can't nail it. And luckily, man, I just had a great co-executive producer, Jaron Spruill, who was relentless with working on the record. I will stop talking, but those are my three records.
Don't you think? I love it. I love it. Well, that's one thing I love about you. Like, I know we never met, but your like relatability and like humbleness and just like all around. Like, I love that you did like the mashup show you had on your channel on IG. Like, I
Yeah,
just like that you're someone, because I feel like, every artist is different.
yeah, for
A
sure.
lot of people get the perception that every artist is the most friendly and, they're your friend in your head,
Yeah,
which not every artist, some artists you meet, and sometimes you don't want to meet an artist.
yeah,
Just put it like that. You'd rather just listen to the discography and keep it like that and go see them live and
yeah,
keep it like that. But you, on the other hand, like, you're such a relatable person, you know, professionally singing and songwriting and producing and doing all you do, but as well as like being here for the fans and the supporters and, talking to us and,
yeah,
especially during quarantine, you were
yeah,
very, very, um, available to everyone to watch you, to see what you were doing, how you
Yeah.
were keeping busy. Like, have you ever thought of doing like reality TV or a show of your own? Like, because I could see you in a good light though, not,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
drama or the messy
yeah.
stuff.
Honestly, man, like, yeah. I mean, whatever God has for me, you know what I mean. I'm not gonna turn that down. So I mean, if it's that, in the sense of like me doing something for TV, then that's great. Just want to put this out here in the universe. Hello. Since we're talking about this, would love to be in Sister Act 3 in some form, shape, or
Yes.
capacity. How about that? So, anybody knows anybody as far as people within Sister Act 3? I think Tyler Perry is producing it now. All that to say, I'm not a beggar, you know what I mean? And I'm not picky. I'm not picky either, you know what I'm saying? So whether I'm doing vocal arrangements, you know what I'm saying? I can vocal arrange, you know what I'm saying? If you want me to be in the movie, whatever you need me to be, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like it's too close to my childhood for me to miss out on that. So with
Yeah.
that being said, just gotta put that out there.
Gotta. Yep.
Oh, but yes, all that to say, yes, the mashup show was out of, I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna say like the name of particular people. Where like I was trying to reach out to do like these interviews or like be a guest on these people's like shows during quarantine, and they was
Hmm.
like, nah, we got this and this going on. I'm like, y'all have nothing going on because you know why? Because none of us have anything going on. So you just don't
It's
want to
so
do this.
true. You just
So
said it right there.
I was like, you know what? Instead of me asking people and trying to go to other people's doors, you know what? I'm gonna build my own house. I'm gonna build my own table, and I'm gonna invite people that I know. And so, from that, it's not easy. Well, I'm sorry, it's not difficult to light a fire,
Hmm.
within me. So, once that competitive spirit comes out in the sense to say, you don't want to invite me to your show, that's cool. I'll make my own show. And from that, we had from the, young artists to the legends. Like, we have Avant, we had SWV,
WV. Yep.
had Jonte Austin. We had a lot of people in that,
Yeah.
And I was talking to Keena. Shout out to Keena Carson because she was the producer of that show, and which just kind of helped me to develop the mashup show. We was like, yo, like we did like 20 episodes, and it was just a very wide range of guests that I would have never imagined that would have said yes
Yeah.
to somebody who was as inexperienced and unseasoned and didn't know what the hell he was doing. But it was will, man. It was like just the willpower and God's favor, man. Just the fact that I'm like, yo, I needed to do something that was consistent for me as well. So every
Hmm.
Monday we would go online and make sure that it happened. And I didn't realize how entertaining it was for people because once I
Yeah.
was like, you know what, 20 episodes is enough. I'm done. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Um, and people kept asking, like, especially like my base was just like, are you bringing back the mashup show? And I was like,
Uh,
I don't know. I don't know. But all that to say is, you never know, man. Like if God
yeah.
creates the space and the avenue for it, I'm there.
Yeah, you killed
Yeah.
it on that. Like, I was so happy you did it because it was something different. Like, and
Yeah.
like you said, everyone was home, so there was no excuse. Like, that blew my mind too with a lot of people and artists. I was like, you're busy doing what? Like, you're what? I mean, I'm not saying I'm the biggest interview in the world, but I mean, yeah, it's so funny you say that though. It's not. I'm happy I'm not alone on that.
People are so concerned with their profiles that they feel like they don't want to you know be connected to something that they feel that is less than.
Mm-hmm.
um
Yep.
but the thing is, I remember everything. I remember my start. I remember not sounding as good or not writing as good or not being good at all. How about that? Right.
Yeah.
So with that being said, everybody starts from somewhere. So I took a rule out of Maxwell's book. What people don't know about Max and that makes him so successful, without putting out an album every year. I mean, or 5 years, for
5
that
years.
matter, right? But the beauty of Max is this: when he goes on tour, he does like 3 legs. And
Yep.
so he does main cities, right? So that's LA, New York, DC, blah, 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 you know, whatever. And then he does second city tours, right? So that's the second tier. So you got your Charlottes and your Tampas and this and that. Then he has a third city tour. And those are the third tier markets. So now we're getting into, and no diss to any cities that I'm about to name. Not saying that your third tier is just,
It's the way it is.
that's just, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Clearwater, Florida. You know what I'm saying? That was one of them giants. Albuquerque, New Mexico was one of them giants. You know what I'm saying? Like it was certain place somewhere in Kentucky. I didn't even know the name of that thing. But he was there. And you know what the beauty is about that? It's that because no one comes, the people that do are so appreciative. And they're
So
willing to pay
appreciative.
top
Yeah.
dollar for Maxwell because he's in town. Because nobody else is willing to come to a Clearwater, Florida, or to a Albuquerque. And like I said, no diss to any of the cities because I love y'all and I'm coming. Let's be clear about that. Hello. But a lot of big artists don't do that. So I relate how we do social media to that. Like, so I'm like, yo, you got a following, you got people like, listen, it's 45 people on here. You know what I'm saying? So like if we was in a room like physically, that's still a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Like
for real. Yeah. A lot of people looking at you like,
it's still enough, it's still enough people that, you actually have to put out energy to, right? So with all that to be said is I don't look at it in a sense of big and small more so than the impact that I can make, right? With no matter what the number is or no matter where I'm at, impact is what matters the most because just like what we seen in the versus battle with Jadakiss, that's what happens when you've been gearing up for 20 plus years for a moment like that, for the world to say, damn, he's a beast. He's been a beast, right?
Been a beast, yeah.
Right. So my thing is this. All of this that I'm doing as far as interviews, shows, whatever, it's all in preparation for something more, right? And so the goal is this, is for anything that is attached or anything that's within my universe and space. My bad, sorry. It's my fault.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Anything that's within my universe and space, I want for that to flourish. So I'm not just on here because of the fact of it's just like it's cool to be on here. I'm on here because I want you to win, right? I want for your base to grow. I want for, you know what I mean? I want to see God working in your life, right? So
yeah, that's real.
That's the beauty of it. Like, the more people that you know that's winning, you know what I'm saying, that's within your space, that's infectious, right?
Yeah.
Just like pain and misery is infectious, or misery loves company. Winning's the same way. Success is the same way, right? So it's like,
it really is. Like,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
but people don't think of it like that.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
I want to see everybody win, man. I want to see everybody flourish. You dig what I'm saying? Like, just as many people gave me a shot, like, who am I to say no to something, or to say no to somebody in the sense of an opportunity to speak with my base to your base and whoever may be listening. You know what I mean? We might actually stumble upon something that could be a gem or a tool to help somebody navigate through a situation. So I consider it a blessing, man.
Yeah, that's real talk. No, I love that you said that. And last year too, though, 2020 was such a, through everything. How important though was it for you to be on? You did the Voices for Change, the Real Black song with Trevor Jackson and Jacob Lattimore. How important was that to you, just to have a track out there for what was going on in the world, and still is, unfortunately? How important was that to you?
It was necessary, man, and I'm glad Empire did it, for real. So and shout out to Trevor and Jacob, man. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't have to do that. They could have been like, nah, we don't do that. You know what I'm saying? But those are two young rising stars. You know what I'm saying? Renaissance men. You know what I mean? In their own right, to hop on a record with me so that we can, share our point of view of what the world looks like to us within this time, and how everything that's been going on as far as within COVID has been affecting us. So that was really dope, man. So shout out to Empire, shout out to Voices of Change, shout out to everybody that was involved, man. That was really awesome. Now you may actually hold on. The battery's
Hmm.
dying, and it's super stupid. But I at least wanted to let you know, like, if it's pausing and all that stuff, is because of the fact that like my battery is like really acting crazy right now. So
We good, we good.
yeah,
But no, to wrap up, can I ask the last two questions?
yeah.
Looking for love.
Mm.
It's out there. The video premiere today. Your leading lady. I actually know her, Fallon. Like,
Shout
how?
out to Fallon Johnson.
Shout
Hey,
out to
Fallon.
Fallon. Yeah, I
Yeah,
met Fallon through Seven Streeter.
yeah,
Like, dope person, dope dancer, dope actress. Like,
yeah.
how'd you come up with the concept? Tell me all about it. And like I said, the poster you made, the single, like I guess the video cover, which I love
Yeah.
that you did. How important was that for you?
I can't take credit for any of that. I'm gonna be honest with you. First and foremost, my creative director, Amber Madison, found Fallon because she knew Fallon, and that's how we got the incredible, dynamic woman, Fallon, Miss Fallon Johnson, in the video. The mastermind, Sam McKnight, was responsible for the movie, like, kind of pictures and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
Sam is a great storyteller, and he's a genius filmmaker in his own right, man. And he's worked with a lot of great people thus far, as far as within his career, man. And we really hit it off a couple years ago, and it was long overdue for us to actually create something. So I'm super glad that we connected, and that just goes to show, man, when you work with people that you actually rock with, man. Um, the product, it shows. It shows
yeah.
when people's hearts are in it, and they want you to win, and vice versa. So hey, man, shout out to Sam McKnight, shout out to Amber Madison, shout out to Fallon Johnson, shout out to Gabby Lamb, shout out to Beth Tay. I can't name everybody because I will run out of breath, but
But
just know that everybody who was involved, I love and appreciate you guys, man, like, to infinity.
yeah, y'all killed it. Like, video's super dope. I love what y'all did. And finally, you know, you about to go on tour. I can't wait to see you in Chicago, September 9th. How does it feel? Like, finally I get to see an artist inside.
Yeah,
Like, oh, that feeling, it's the outside venues are dope. Don't get me wrong. I get it for precautions, but there's nothing like an inside,
yeah.
intimate, dope show. Like, how excited are you, and how's it been like preparing for it?
It's been fun. It's been fun. I will say this. Um, I want for everybody to be safe, no matter where y'all go, as it pertains to like shows and all that stuff. So I want y'all to take y'all precautions, because I will as well.
Yeah,
Most certainly, you know what I mean. But it's been fun, man. Just getting back out there and just working it out. You know what I mean? Like, training back up them chops as my voice is concerned, and just trying to elevate the show and take people on the journey and just connecting with the audience. I think that's the most important part. So, but since you talking about shows, you know what I'm saying? I got a show this Saturday in Missouri City, Texas, at, what is it called? Sugars. There it is. Sugars. I'll be in Sugars this Saturday, Missouri City, Texas. So if you're in the Houston area, go ahead, come on out. Um, yeah, we got another show in Cincinnati that y'all can come
yeah,
to on August 20th. And then we have a show September 9th, like you said, Chicago. Then we have another show on the 11th in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. Come out to that if you're in, I don't know where Sun Prairie, Wisconsin is, but wherever that
yeah,
is, in the sense of, if y'all in the surrounding areas of that, come through. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Uh, yeah. So all that to be said, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So come through, and I appreciate you, bro, man. Like, you did your
yeah.
research, man. This has been fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, thank you, bro. I appreciate it so much. I can't wait to finally meet you in person. Like I said, September 9th. Definitely
Yeah.
will do something else. I got a present for you too. You'll love it. I got you. That's
Hey.
why I can't. It's weird like doing these because I can't. It's just different. Like the
Yeah.
IG live. It's finally getting to meet people again in person. But like you said, being safe, but still. But
Yeah.
I appreciate you. Be safe. And I'm sure getting back into the mode of tour and
Yeah.
I'll see you soon, bro. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I appreciate you.
All right, man. See you soon. Oh yeah.
Uh,
Also, my bad. Atlanta. What is that? August 29th. If y'all in Atlanta, I'm
oh,
doing an acoustic set, so come through to that as well. Thank you, bro. I really appreciate it. Make sure that y'all go
definitely,
on the
definitely.
stream, looking for love and all that good stuff. And I see y'all around.
Yeah, check out the video now, guys, on YouTube. Check it out
Yes, sir.
now. Okay, peace, Kevin. Peace.
All right,
Have a
peace.
good one.
All right.
Okay, peace.